This may or may not be a Lehman moment, Sri, but I have been writing, saying publicly for quite a while that with the Fed tightening here, the European Central Bank tightening from Frankfurt, and you have a quantitative tightening taking place also at the same time as rates are being increased in the United States, that something is going to break. There is going to be a credit event. And I think whatever you're seeing, whether this is true or not, in terms of the banks reassuring investors, you're going to have more problems show up. And I think the Federal Reserve will have to face the consequence of a credit event and then decide whether it's going to continue its anti-inflation effort or just throw in the towel and say, we have won the war and we are just simply going to look at saving the system. So that's the real danger, Sri, of having miscalculated inflation for such a long time. And now they are trying to make up for it by doing everything in a hurry. So you cannot be eating too much and be a glutton for a long period of time and decide that suddenly you're going to improve your health by totally eating nothing. And that's what I would say, is the situation with the financial system. And it carries enormous amount of risk to the global system in terms of what the various central banks are doing.
It does indeed. Does this imply then a disorderly credit event, possibly in Europe then? And is the challenge for policymakers and the regulators now that you have a situation, let's say a Credit Suisse scenario, that it is too big to fail and too big to bail, and that puts policymakers in a bind as to how to approach this?
If you look at history, though, there are institutions which are too big to fail. You mentioned Lehman Brothers, which is, I think, a good example. We had in the United States, we had Orange County in California, which essentially couldn't pay its bills in 1994. After interest rates went up substantially, that they had to be bailed out. And then you had long-term credit management in Greenwich, Connecticut, which again went belly up in 1998 as part of the Russian debt default crisis. But they are never too big to rescue. In other words, they are too big to fail, Sri, but there is always enough cash to buy anything out as far as the central banks are concerned. The cost of doing so is that they cannot continue to manage inflation anymore. They cannot have two objectives, and therefore inflation mitigation goes by the wayside, and we enter into the start of a yet another new crisis over the next 5 years. So we keep going in cycles as the central banks mismanage the situation on a serial basis. That's what's going to happen. But no institution is too big to save.
Hi, I'm Emily Tan, and thanks for watching CNBC. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.